Hi guys! Welcome sa enginerdmath channel. Sa video na to ay magre-review tayo ng quadratic equations. So kung gusto niyo itong matutunan, just keep on watching. Okay, so this time ay magsasagot lang tayo ng sets of questions about quadratic equation. So, parang review lang to dun sa mga past videos ko about quadratic equation. So, marami na rin akong videos for quadratic equation. So, ano yung pa yung napapanood, isililink ko na lang para ma-check nyo bago nyo panoorin itong quadratic equations exam review video ko. Okay? So, let's start with question number 1. So, for part 1 pala, we have solve the following quadratic equations in 3 methods: factoring, completing the square, and quadratic formula. So, meron kasi tayong tatlong ways of solving quadratic equations, right? So, kung pwede siyang ma-factor, then factoring yung gamitin natin. Then, kung hindi, pwede tayong gumamit ng completing the square or using quadratic formula. Ito yung mga straight to the point method na pwede nating ma-solve directly yung x. Okay? So, we have the first one, 2x squared plus 5x plus 3 equals 0. So, magsimula tayo sa completing the square para in case na yung nakuha nating sagot through completing the square, yung roots is irrational numbers o may ini-involve na radical or even imaginary, is hindi na tayo magpaproceed sa factoring. Kasi alam natin na hindi siya factorable, right? Okay, so let's start with completing the square. Okay, so kapag nagko-complete tayo ng square, yung constant is sinatranspose muna natin sa right side. So, transpose natin si positive 3 sa right side. So, magiging 2x squared plus 5x equals negative 3. And then, dapat yung numerical coefficient ng x squared is dapat 1 lang. So, since meron tayong numerical coefficient na 2, dapat alisin muna natin yon by dividing both sides by 2. Okay? So, makakancel dito si 2, magiging x squared na lang, plus distribute si 2 sa 5, magiging 5 over 2x equals negative 3 over 2. Even sa right side. Then, mag-add na tayo both sides ng term para makomplete yung square dun sa x. So, ginagawa natin yung numerical coefficient ng x, which is this time is 5 halves, right? Dinidivide to natin. So, 5 halves divided by 2 is 5 over 4. Right? And then, ini-square natin yung sagot. So, 25 over 16. So, therefore, mag-add tayo both sides ng 25 over 16. Okay? And then, itong right, mapa-factor na natin siya kasi yun naman yung goal natin, right? So, x plus, dahil plus yung middle term natin, right? And then, square root lang itong 25 over 16. 5 over 4. Right? And then, square nyo na. And then, simplify lang natin tong right side. So, negative 3 halves plus 25 over 16. LCD is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. Then, plus 16 divided by 16 is 1 times 25 is 25. Or, negative 24 plus 25 is positive 1 over 16. Okay? And then, square root na natin both sides. So, magiging cancel yung radical, x plus 5 over 4 equals, so kapag nag-square root tayo, laging may plus minus. Ano yung square root ng 1 over 16? 1/4, right? Okay? And then, para ma-solve si x, transpose na natin si 5 over 4 sa right. So, x is equal to plus minus 1 over 4 minus 5 over 4. So, dahil may plus minus tayo, meron tayong dalawang roots. Yung isa plus, yung isa minus. So, gamitin muna natin yung plus. So, 1/4 minus 5 over 4. And then, para sa isa, negative 1/4 naman, yung minus. So, negative 1/4 minus 5 over 4. So, simplify lang natin to. So, ano yung 1 over 4 minus 5 over 4? So, similar fraction. So, copy lang yung denominator. Then, subtract natin yung numerator. So, 1 minus 5 is negative 4. Or, negative 4 divided by 4 is negative 1. So, therefore, eksakto. And dito sa isa, we have negative 1 minus 5 over 4, right? So, negative 1 minus 5 is negative 6. So, negative 6 over 4 or negative 3 halves. So, therefore, the roots are negative 3 halves and negative 1. Okay? Okay, so dahil yung roots natin is rational numbers, so therefore, eksakto, So, pwede tayong gumamit ng factoring para ma-solve yung roots. So, sige, try natin. So, 'di ba 2x squared plus 5x plus 3 equals 0. So, factor natin. So, dahil may numerical coefficient tayo na 2, sa x squared pwedeng 2x times x. And then, factors ng 3, pwedeng 3 and 1. So, dapat pag minultiply natin tong 3x saka 2x saka 1, dapat pag inadd natin yung dalawang product na yun is 5x. Kasi yun yung middle term. So, 3 times x, 3x plus 2x times 1 is 2x. So, pag inadd natin, 5x. So, therefore, tama yung factor natin. Pero dapat parehong positive. Equal 0. So, pag na-factor natin, ini-equate natin each factor to 0, right? So, 2x plus 3 equals 0 and x plus 1 equals 0. Then, solve natin si x. So, x is equal to, so, transpose ko muna dito si 3, negative 3. Then, divide both sides by 2. So, x is equal to negative 3 halves. So, tama. Pareho tayo sa isa. And then, dito sa isa, solve for x, transpose lang natin si 1, negative 1. So, therefore, tama din sa isang root natin na negative 1. Okay? Now, for the quadratic formula, ito yung pinaka straight to the point formula. Kasi, pag ginamit natin to, solve agad natin yung roots. So, quadratic formula is x is equal to negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So, yung given natin is 2x squared plus 5x plus 3 equals 0, right? So, yung general form ng quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So, therefore, comparing the coefficients here, we have a is equal to 2, b is equal to 5, and c, yung constant, equals to 3. Then, plug in na lang natin dito sa quadratic formula. So, negative b, negative 5, plus minus square root of b squared or 5 squared minus 4 ac. So, a is 2 times c is 3 over 2 times a, which is 2. So, we have negative 5 plus minus square root of b squared is 25. So, negative 4 times 2 times 3 is negative 24 over 2 times 2 or 4. So, negative 5 plus minus square root of 25 minus 24 is 1 over 4. So, tuloy ko dito, negative 5 plus minus square root of 1 is 1 over 4. So, hatiin uli natin sa dalawa kasi may plus minus. So, yung isa, negative 5 plus 1 over 4 sa plus. And then, yung isa, negative 5 minus 1 over 4. So, negative 5 plus 1 over 4 is negative 4 over 4 or negative 1. So, tama. And then, negative 5 minus 1 over 4 is negative 6 over 4 or negative 3 halves. So, therefore, by the three methods, factoring, computing the square, and quadratic formula, pare-pareho yung nasolve nating roots na negative 1 at negative 3 halves. Okay? Next, 3x squared minus 2x plus 2 equals 0. Okay, so start ulit tayo sa computing the square. So, transpose natin si positive 2 sa right, magiging negative 2. And then, dahil may 3 pa yung coefficient natin sa x squared, divide both sides by 3 para makancel. So, we have x squared minus 2/3 x is equal to negative 2/3. Okay, ganun ulit. So, divide natin yung numerical coefficient ng x na 2/3 by 2. We have 2 over 6. And then square 4 over 36. So, yun yung i-add natin both sides para ma-complete yung square ng x. Okay? Next, factor na natin to. So, format x and then square root nitong 4 over 36 is 2 over 6. And then dahil minus yung middle term, minus din dapat. And then square equals, so, ano yung negative 2/3 plus 4 over 36? So, LCD is 36, right? 36 divided by 3 is 12 times 2, or negative 2 is negative 24. Plus, 36 divided by 36 is 1, times 4 is 4. So, we have negative 24 plus 4 is what? Negative 20 over 36. Okay? So, therefore, pag in-square root natin both sides, meron tayong imaginary, right? Kasi negative yung nasa loob ng radical. Kasi kapag square root or even yung index natin tapos negative yung nasa loob, imaginary, right? So, therefore, we have x minus 2 over 6. So, cancel lang si radical. Dito, magkakaroon tayo ng plus minus square root of, so itong 20, pwedeng i-factor as 4 times 5, right? Yung 4, pwedeng lumabas kasi perfect square, so lalabas siya as 2. So, 2, then square root of matitira is negative 5. So, kapag may negative tayo inside the square root, ginagawa nating imaginary, right? So, magiging I. Tapos, may iwan lang yung 5. Right? Then, yung square root ng 36 sa denominator is 6. Okay? Then, transpose natin si negative 2, 6. We have 2, 6 plus minus 2i square root of 5 over 6. Okay? So, similar denominator naman sila. So, pag kinumbine natin, we have 6 as the denominator. Then, copy lang natin yung numerator. 2 plus 2i square root of 5. Or, pwede pa nating i-factor yung 2. So, dito na lang. 2 times 1 plus minus square root of 5i over 6. Then, cancel si 2. Matitira sa denominator is 3. So, yung final answer natin is x equals 1 plus minus I square root of 5 over 3. Or, pag dinistribute, x is equal to 1 over 3 plus minus I square root of 5 over 3. So, pag hinati, dapat may isang plus, isang minus. So, 1/3 plus I square root of 5 over 3, tsaka 1/3 minus naman I square root of 5 over 3. So, ito yung roots natin. Okay? So, dahil hindi tayo eksakto or yung roots natin is involving radical and complex number, so hindi tayo pwedeng mag-factoring kasi mahirap. So, quadratic formula na tayo agad. Okay? So, we have 3x squared minus 2x plus 2, right, equals 0. So, therefore, a is equal to 3, b is equal to negative 2, and c is equal to 2. So, x is equal to negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Substitute negative of negative 2. So, positive 2 na yan, right? Plus minus square root of b squared negative 2 squared minus 4. A is 3 times c, 2 over 2 times a, which is 3. So, magiging 2 plus minus square root of negative 2 quantity squared is 4. So, minus 4 times 3 times 2 is negative 24 over 6. So, 2 plus minus square root of negative 20, yung kanina, right, over 6. So, di ba kanina itong square root of negative 20 is equal siya sa 2i square root of 5, right? Okay, so tuloy ko dito x is equal to 2 plus minus 2i square root of 5 over 6. Then, factor ko ulit si 2. 2 times quantity 1 plus minus I square root of 5 over 6. So, cancel si 2. Magiging 3 si 6. Magiging 1 plus minus I square root of 5 over 3. Or, 1 over 3. Distribute ko na si 3 plus I square root of 5 over 3. 1 root. And pag negative naman, 1 over 3 minus I square root of 5 over 3. So, therefore, pareho lang ng sagot comparing sa completing the square. Okay? Next, we have find the sum and product of roots of the quadratic equations. Okay, so meron lang tayong formula dito, right? So, given yung general form ng equation ng quadratic equation, we have ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So, yung sum is equal to negative b over a. Tapos, yung product is equal to c over a. So, kung meron tayong given quadratic equation, through their coefficients, malalaman natin yung sum at product nila without needing to solve pa yung mga roots nila. Okay, so dito muna tayo sa a. So, 3x squared plus 2x minus 1 equals 0. So, a is equal to 3. B is equal to 2, and C is equal to negative 1. So for the sum, negative B over A, right? So we have B is 2, so negative 2 over A is 3, or negative 2/3. Kapag product, C over A. So C is negative 1 over A is 3. So therefore, the product is negative 1/3. Okay? Next, for B, negative 6x squared plus 5x plus 7 equals 0. So A is negative 6, B is 5, and C is 7. So for the sum, negative B over A ulit. So B is 5, so negative 5 over A is negative 6. So negative 5 over negative 6 is positive 5 over 6. Okay? Then sa product, C over A. So C is 7 over A is negative 6, or negative 7 over 6 yung product. Okay? Next, for C, we have 2x squared plus 4x plus 1 equals 0. So A is 2, B is 4, and C is 1. So sa sum, we have negative B over A. So B is 4 over A is 2, negative. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. Then may negative pa, so negative 2 yung sum. And then for the product, C over A. So C is 1 over A is 2. So therefore, the product is 1 over 2, or 1/2. Okay? Next, we have find the nature of roots of the following quadratic equations. So this time, aalamin daw natin yung nature ng roots ng quadratic equation. So gagamitin natin dito yung discriminant, which is may formula na, so discriminant D is equal to B squared minus 4AC. So mapapansin nyo sa quadratic formula natin na negative B plus minus B squared minus 4AC over 2A. So itong discriminant D, siya yung nasa loob nung square root o yung radical expression. So dito natin ibabase kung ano yung magiging nature ng roots ng quadratic equation. So ito yung mga characteristics ng discriminant para malaman natin yung nature ng roots. As a review, kung yung discriminant daw is equal to 0, the roots are real and equal. Okay? And then if D is less than 0, or dapat greater than 0 or positive, the roots are real and unequal. Okay? And then additional info, kapag perfect square, rational or exact. Kapag not perfect square, irrational, or pwede tayong mag-involve ng mga radical expressions. Okay? And then last, kapag D is less than 0, the roots are imaginary or complex conjugate. Kasi nga, yung square root of negative number is undefined, right? So, meron tayong imaginary number. Okay? So, ito yung natandaan nating concept kapag hinahanap natin yung nature ng roots ng quadratic equation. Okay, so let's have A. X squared plus X plus 1 equals 0. So, A is 1, B is 1, and C is 1. So, using yung formula for discriminant, B squared minus 4AC, we have B squared or 1 squared minus 4 times A is 1 times C is 1. So we have 1 squared is 1 minus 4 times 1 times 1, or 4. So 1 minus 4 is negative 3. So negative, right? Or D is less than 0. So therefore, the roots are imaginary or complex conjugate. Okay? Next, B. X squared plus 2x minus 1 equals 0. So A is 1, B is 2, and C is negative 1. Okay? So, B squared minus 4AC. So, substitute. B is 2. So, 2 squared minus 4. A is 1. So, times 1. Then, C is negative 1 times negative 1. So, we have 2 squared is 4. So, negative 4 times 1 times negative 1 is positive 4. So, therefore, 4 plus 4 is positive 8. So, therefore, dahil positive siya, the roots are real and unequal. And then, dahil hindi naman siya perfect square, irrational yung roots natin. Okay? Next, C. X squared plus 4x minus 21 equal 0. So, A is equal to 1, B is equal to 4, and C is equal to negative 21. So, B squared minus 4AC. So, we have B is 4, so 4 squared minus 4. A is 1, and C is negative 21. So 4 squared is 16, right? So negative 4 times 1 times negative 21 is what? Positive 84, right? So we have 16 plus 84 is what? 100, right? Which is positive. So therefore, ang roots natin are real and unequal. And then dahil perfect square yung 100, right? Rational din siya. Okay? So, next, 5x squared plus 9x plus 6 equals 0. So, A is 5, B is 9, and C is 6. Okay? So, B squared minus 4AC. So, substitute. B is 9, so 9 squared minus 4 times A is 5 times C is 6. So, 9 squared is 81 minus, ano yung 4 times 5 times 6? 120. So, 81 minus 120 is what? Negative 39. So, therefore, dahil negative uli siya, ang roots natin is imaginary and complex conjugate. Okay? Okay, so I think that's it for this video, Quadratic Equations Exam Review. So, sana ay may natutunan kayo sa video nito at maraming salamat sa panonood.